the program, The Sports Show. Patrick Royce, Lavelle E. Neal, and Sid Hartman are our guests tonight as we take a look at the world of sports on a local level. Sydney, the Minnesota Vikings tied the Green Bay Packers today. Are you satisfied with the tie?
Well, the one thing I was happy about, my friend Mr. Ponder had 104 rating today. He had a heck of a first half, and the second half, they got no secondary whatsoever. We could get some guys in here who would do a better job than that Blanton. He's the world's worst. And then that poor Cheryl's back there playing against guys 5 feet bigger than them. And Matt Flynn had been with Arizona, Seattle,
Oakland,
Oakland and Buffalo.
Huh?
Oakland. Buffalo.
4 clubs.
Yep.
And he goes in there, and all of a sudden, he's a big star. 16-point lead.
So, but are you satisfied with the tie, given what you thought it would be going into the game? Because you didn't give them much of a chance to win.
Here's the thing. Miracles happen. Last year, they won 4 straight at the end of the season. Had they won the game today, you never know what would happen.
What? Where are you headed with this? Where are you headed with this? If you can't beat the Packers
Playoffs, buddy,
with their 4th quarterback of the season, you're not going to win at all. This is the one chance to finally beat the Packers at Green Bay.
Stupid imbecile.
Why am I an imbecile?
Chance to wind up.
How about those penalties in the 4th quarter?
8-8.
You got him running the table?
8-8.
Huh?
Yep, he's got him running the table.
With that secondary, you just badmouthed the secondary. How in the hell are they going to go 8-8, Sid?
7-9.
It's a conduit to the end zone for the other team.
2 years ago was in the playoffs.
That's hardly a big
Sid,
reward.
That's not going to happen. Well, I don't think we can be mad at Robert Blanton. He's not supposed to be playing. He's not supposed to be playing nickelback. He's at like a 4th string
he's just
safety.
in there all of a
He
sudden,
just had to come in and play because they got so banged up. I blame it on conservative everything once they got the 16-point lead. They just they shut her down. They didn't go after it offensively. All they did was hand off the ball, and then defensively they started playing their good old we don't have to rush the passer here for a while. So I blame it on, complacency. They didn't figure they could give up the lead. But hey, tie, who cares?
Yeah, it was funny, though, Lavelle, is a tie sure feels like a loss always, doesn't it? Because all you look at is how you could have won the game. So even though it's a tie, it feels like a loss.
That's why so many things come up into play here. The drop passes. The penalties.
Period.
Six penalties in the second half. So many mistakes. And once again, the Packers were there to be had, and they couldn't capitalize.
You stick to baseball. You know a lot about baseball.
You just said the Vikings go 8-8. With that secondary, you said they were going to go 8-8.
Sidney, how do you feel about the coaching staff and their future right now?
Oh, I think the defensive staff, there'll be big changes.
Yeah.
I think he'll be back. I think they'll bring him back for another year. And I don't think there'll be much changes in the offensive staff, but I think defensive staff will be...
What about your offensive coordinator?
Huh?
How about your offensive coordinator? You got confidence in Musgrave?
I think he's gone, defensive coordinator.
No,
Offensive. Musgrave.
Offensive coordinator, I think he'll be here.
Okay, I have a philosophical question for you guys. We saw Adrian Peterson fumble a football today, and upon, they showed the replay, he got face masked, which kind of led to the fumble.
Yeah.
But you can't review the face mask.
No,
Should you be able to challenge a fumble, and then they say, well, the fumble was legit, but we found this face mask? Should they change that rule?
No, I don't think so. You can't start reviewing things and then start looking for screw-ups.
You open up a big can of worms.
I mean, because on the Matt Flynn throw, when they went to see whether it was a
Forward pass
or not, it was the most clear pass interference of the day being committed downfield. Could have they called that then? It's the same
I guess
thing.
you could.
How many holding penalties would they find if they go back and look at tape?
Don't know.
And pass interference.
No, what he's saying, though, is if they're already replaying it and they see something, can they invoke it? I don't think so.
But what I'm saying is, if you replay
next
that, you can
season,
always find something.
Period. Next season.
What is your problem?
Next season, it'll be interesting with that baseball instant replay.
Right. Are you excited for it?
How long is going to delay the games?
Well, that's the big
Games are
question,
long
because the
enough
games are
now.
long enough now, yeah.
Apparently, they're going to have the manager is going to be able to challenge a couple, but then the word is that if the umpires want to take a look at it, They can, right?
It's a Gardy rule. Gardy got his way. Gardy said he wanted to throw a challenge flag out in the field.
I don't think they're going to do that, though. I think they're just going to go, hey, look at it. But well, you know what I like? If you argue, you can't challenge it.
Right.
If you argue, you can't challenge it.
You can either challenge it or argue it.
Yeah. So if you want to...
Okay. Here's my way.
If you come out and argue, then you can't challenge it. Right. If you just say, okay, hey, look at that.
Okay. This is my theory for overtimes. Now, I came up with a new way to solve this thing, okay? So you don't play till ties.
Why not?
This is what I want to do. You flip the coin. Whoever gets the ball can pick the ball, but you can't punt in overtime.
Yeah. Well.
So you have to decide. Do you want the ball first? If you score, you win. It's sudden death. But you can't punt.
Anything would be better than putting it on the 25-yard line and having them play 9 overtimes before somebody wins.
Let's have a punt, pass, and kick competition.
Well, the shootout in hockey is...
No, but Maxie, there's about one tie a year. You know, there's one tie a year. It's not an issue.
Period.
Are you talking to Patrick?
That's true, but I thought it'd be kind of fun if you had to make a decision whether to take the ball, but you couldn't punt, to be a great... Because as Bud always says, it should always be about a number of great decisions in a game.
The umpires should make the decision. The officials, I don't like those guys upstairs.
You don't like them?
They're older than me, and they can't see, and they're deciding...
Well, you don't know who those guys are.
Yeah. I know who they are. I see them.
Period. Commercial break.
I know them. They were lousy officials when they couldn't move with the players. All of a sudden, now
but in the NFL said that they aren't doing it. It's the guy on the field who's looking at the camera. In the NFL, the guy upstairs, except for the last 2 minutes.
They just show it to him.
Yeah, and the replay doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Take a break, come back, stay with us.
Period.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Bar Abilene at Lagoon and Fremont in uptown Minneapolis. And Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.
There it is, locally owned, nationally known, and man, they make a pork chop too. J.D. Hoyt's, the steak, the chop, the salad, it's all there. Don't forget a pretty good chicken sandwich as well. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Before we move to the Gophers, so who do we got here? You're a big Bears fan, of course, Lavelle growing up there. Sydney, who do you like in this division? Why is this division so down? And we thought this division was going to be maybe the best in football at one time.
You mean the Central Division?
Yeah.
The North.
Or the Northern Division? I don't know. I thought Detroit was going to be pretty good. They got knocked off today. The Bears got nothing but injuries. This is not one of the stronger divisions right now. Denver, Seattle, what's the third?
New Orleans.
The whole West is pretty good.
Those are the only three.
Yeah, San Francisco, you got a count in there?
I think those are only three really outstanding teams in the whole league.
The NFC West is pretty good.
That's a strong
when your
division.
fourth best team is St. Louis, Arizona's pretty good. They
7-4 now.
Arizona, they kicked the living hell out of who today? They
40 to
drilled
11 or
them.
something.
Indianapolis.
Oh, Indianapolis, 40 to 11, yeah.
They've been,
I think
they've been
9
up and down.
Oh, hang on, Lavelle. We got to get sensitive.
I know, 'cause I talk too
Sydney.
much.
What were you going to say?
There, Indianapolis last year,
Yep.
with Luck as a rookie, was a lot better team than they are now.
Okay.
They lost some guys that they wouldn't pay money to.
Okay.
Plus,
Just
Pep
wanna make sure.
Hamilton won't let Luck throw the ball down the field. Their offensive coordinator's killing them.
Okay.
I tell you who's having a good year, though, with Indianapolis, Mrs. Irsay. She's divorcing him. That's got to be worth a whole lot of money. He's got to pay her not to have any ownership in the team. He's going to get she's going to get a lot of money, Mrs. Irsay.
Well, he spouts off enough that you wonder what he'd be like at home. Go for football. Your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Well, as you know, I hang around there quite a bit.
No.
And last week, I never heard so much confidence that they thought they could play Wisconsin. They thought the bye week was perfect. They put in a whole bunch of new stuff. And actually, they did play them a lot better than they played in the past. I mean, the 2 previous years they got killed. There were 3 turnovers. Mr. Nelson, that was the turning point in the game. If they had a chance to win, they were marching in. They lose the ball, they go score, and that was it.
Yeah, and the Gophers played good defense. Got a touchdown on their defense. Patrick, you were there as well.
Yeah, they played pretty good defensively. 189 yards, though, as we mentioned. That's not going to win you any games. And
they beat the spread.
You know, Wisconsin's, they'll keep running at you and keep running at you, even if they don't make yards. They need a quarterback, Wisconsin. Yeah. Phil Nelson had a lousy day, but I don't know if he's as bad as the guy from Wisconsin. Stave, he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, if they had a decent quarterback, Wisconsin, they'd steamroll the Big Ten. Maybe not Ohio State.
Abaderis gets 150 yards of receptions and scores a couple touchdowns.
And dropped a wide open one.
He did drop one wide open one as well. Yeah, Stave, he's got an arm, but he doesn't have a good accuracy. Good defense by the. I like the Badgers. Like you said, their front seven is pretty strong.
Borland's
I like that. The linebacker.
5 or 6 teams haven't scored a touchdown on them this year in games offensively.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, I thought you wanted to add something to that. You look like you're ready to talk, and I don't want to deny you. Last week, we charted it, and you didn't do as well in terms of the amount of time talking. So I want to give you an opportunity here. Here's the ball. You go,
Mr. 11%.
To me, that game Saturday brought back memories of Memorial Stadium when it was packed full of people, and the team was competitive. We haven't had that for a long time. I thought it was like Reishi wrote, and I saw him on the internet, the biggest game in 10 years, and I think it was. And I was amazed the number of people that showed up. That's what shocked me.
Me too, actually.
It was jam-packed full, and they hung around till the middle of the 4th quarter, and then the Gophers, last time the Gophers had to give up the ball, they kind of left, and there weren't many students left. But
it was cold.
It was cold. Yeah.
Okay, Lavelle, let me ask you this. In this off-season, the Twins are way down here now in terms of apathy and people wanting to buy tickets for them. Gophers are going to be on the upswing. Vikings are the Vikings, but they're down a little. Who's going to be the big winner here in ticket sales and fan fervor here in the next 6 months?
I don't think the Twins are going to do enough this offseason to fill all their holes. I mean, if they tried out Ricky Nolasco and Bronson Arroyo this offseason, that would definitely prop up the rotation. But they still got issues with some of their positions and their offense. So I think they're at the back burner of this right now. You know, Gophers on the upswing. We got to see how Pitino does with the basketball program, and the Wolves and the Wild are there. So the battle for that discretionary
sports
income.
dollar.
Let me tell you, the most overrated team in town, though, I'm afraid, I'm sad to announce, the Timberwolves.
Might be.
They're not that good.
Their defense, defensively, they're inept. It's bad. Either the other.
You know what? Let's just save that. Let's take a break, come back, because Kevin McHale looks like he's got something pretty special going there in Houston. That was kind of fun to watch them.
Well, I thought.
Let's take a break. Get your breath. I'll come right to you. I promise. I will come to you first after this commercial break. Okay?
Because we know you don't talk enough.
Stay with us.
That's your made of.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Allery's, the original St. Paul sports bar, now with 65 beers on tap. The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Case Law, for all your legal needs, not your typical law firm. Griffin Bail Bonds. It's better to know us and not need us than to need us and not know us. And Perfect Ash, that tobacco place in Lilydale, where you're only a stranger once.
Stop on by, say hi to Bruce, Charlie, the whole gang. Great Thanksgiving weekend coming up. Good time to test drive an Q7 or an A8. Oh, I'll tell you, those babies are made for Minnesota. Audi, Minneapolis. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Before we talk about the Timberwolves, which we started on, Kevin Garnett came to town the other night, and you see a guy declining in his career, man. He played a lot of minutes, and he only scored 8 points, and he is not what he used to be.
No, he's got another year in his contract, too. And so is Pierce. Boston probably knew what they were doing.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
When they got rid of him. I don't think that Jason Kidd is going to have that job too long, I'll tell you.
What a hire
What
that
does he
was.
do? He just kind of sits there.
Well, it's kind of, you get in every crusty old son of a gun in the world, and then you hire a guy who's never coached a game in his life. That makes no sense.
Who's running practice, you think?
I don't know.
Garnett?
Well, he's got Knight's manager. Knight's manager
Frank?
has had about 3 head coaching jobs.
Frank.
Huh?
Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you talking about? Knight's
you know, he was the manager at Indiana, Frank, at one time. The coach. He's coached a few different. He coached 3
Frank
different
Hamlin? I don't know.
No, last name Frank.
Oh,
he was
Lawrence Frank.
Oh, Lawrence Frank.
Lawrence Frank.
Lawrence Frank.
Okay.
He was a manager for Knight.
Student manager. Okay.
All of a sudden became a coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got fired 3 different places.
Okay, so they watched in Houston, though, and they didn't even have Harden playing, who's a fantastic player. They were really fun to watch. There's a big difference between where they're at and where the Wolves are at right now, Pat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Dwight Howard fan in the world, but
there's a missing piece that's not bad to bring in.
He can guard the rim as opposed to our guy Peck. God love him. But I don't think they're very good. They'll be a little better when they get Budinger and Tiriac back, because they'll have a little bench. But they probably make the playoffs, but just barely.
And when they get to the postseason, it's going to be ugly because the game slows down. Defense is more of a priority in the postseason, and that is the weakest part of the Wolves right now. They don't play good defense.
Well, I was disappointed.
Period.
When you lose to the Wizards, you got problems.
Yeah.
And when they're hitting the basket, they got to improve a lot defensively. They do not play very good defense.
First month of the season, they've had 3 horrible losses, and you can't do that because the schedule gets tougher now.
3 this past week.
Plus, they get to go to Mexico City. That'll be fun. Go to Mexico City, get beat by the Spurs by about 30. That'll be a nice trip.
Vern Mickelson passed away, someone that you signed out of Hamline University. Became a 6-time All-Star. How good was he? Don't tell me about the Russell trade. Just tell me about Vern Mickelson.
I look back to when we signed him. I was just telling you guys, we had a $70,000 payroll. He was getting 7, Pollard was getting 12, Mike was getting 35. But Mr. Kundla, didn't like the idea of playing those 3 guys up in front. So we had a little meeting, Max Winter, myself, and Mr. Kundla, and we says, please give the guy a chance to play on the outside for 1 month. If he doesn't work out, fine. But he went to work, and Dave McMillan, may his soul rest in peace, worked with him on an overhand shot.
Set shot.
And all of a sudden, we got the best rebounding in the league.
I barely remember it, but I remember he had a little flip from up here. It wasn't really a set shot. He just stood there, and he was a kind of a flip, and it'd go up into the rafters and
it worked.
Come down.
It was effective.
Make a few at 15 feet. You know, we're talking 60 because they'd cheat back as far as they could on Micah, and there was no zone later on, but they'd cheat back, and then he'd flip it in.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting there today if the deal we made, and I got the papers.
Don't tell us about the Bill Russell. We don't want to hear it again.
Can you tell me?
Want to hear it again.
Can you give me the date so I can get in a time machine and go back so I can redo that trade?
I've said it before.
Before,
asked me this
if I had $20 for every time you told that story, I wouldn't be here either.
It goes hand in hand.
I
There's a tie between that and that.
I won't bring it up again.
I'd be living next to you down there in Fort Lauderdale, except I'd use it.
There's a tie between that and the Barry Alvarez to take the Wisconsin job. Okay, so somebody asked me this in light of the Jerome Simpson. They were talking about the Minneapolis Lakers. They said, what was Sid Hartman's threshold for discipline? In other words, what did somebody have to do before you would suspend a Minneapolis Laker player? Like, Simpson got in trouble. What would you do if somebody got in trouble? And be convicted, I bet, huh?
Best story.
Look the other way.
We had one problem. We had
let's not.
Pollard's wife.
You know what problem that is.
Arley, right?
Let's take a break, come back, finish up.
She wanted to get Mickelson.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Case Law. For all your legal needs, not your typical law firm. Griffin Bail Bonds. It's better to know us and not need us than to need us and not know us. And Perfect Ash, that tobacco place in Lilydale where you're only a stranger once.
Stop on by Bar Abilene, corner of Lagoon and Fremont, uptown to Minneapolis. Just take a look at that guac. It's waiting there for you. Call for reservations, 612-825-2525.
We got to get a midwinter guac delivery in here. Why do we have to wait for the state fair? How about Christmas?
I think Sid would second that. I think Sid would second that.
It's green. It's a Christmas color. Let's do it for Christmas.
Festive.
LaBelle, I know this is right in your wheelhouse, but Sid and the twins, are you satisfied with what they've done this offseason? Got to go to you first.
Well, they haven't done anything as far as I go. I was kind of shocked when they took those 4 guys on the 40-man roster.
I was shocked that they only had 4 to promote. They got so damn much room on the. They could take another 8 guys off there, and it wouldn't blink an eye.
Well, notice that they left 1 spot open. They have 39 players in the 40-man. So make sure that Rule 5 draft comes.
Give me a pencil, Lavelle. I'll get you about 6 more guys.
When is the general manager meeting?
The GM meetings already have been held. The winter meetings are the 2nd week in December in Orlando.
Are you going?
Yes, I am.
That's usually when things get really heated. As general managers, they kind of set the table, and then the winter meetings is when they start getting serious, right?
Yeah, and the general managers meetings were also in Orlando a couple weeks ago, and the agents were there, and they kind of huddled. That's when the Twins.
Garzo and Alaska will get their contracts then, and somebody's going to have. They're going to have to get one of them.
But the thing is with the offseason now, the guys are signing later and later. There's going to be signings like the week before camp opens. This offseason has been drug out now.
If you're waiting to them, they get Kevin Correa. That's what you do.
Well,
you can't do that again. They got to get some live body.
Do you know how much you're asking the Twins to change their habits for that to happen?
They better change them. I got to tell you, the turkeys of the year are coming up Thursday, and the Twins have not been forgotten.
I can't wait.
I can guarantee you they have not been forgotten.
How many Twins people could end up on the list?
Haven't done it yet. The committee hasn't had its final meeting yet, but I can guarantee you.
You're getting an inkling.
Will you have this? Will it be the whole organization, or will you just focus on a few individuals?
No, that's too easy.
Well, they better sign somebody, a couple pitchers, or there's going to be the same old story.
I got a quick.
Jason Bartlett. What about Jason Bartlett?
I'm going to ask you this question only because we didn't ask you because you weren't here at the time when he signed. But with Michael Kadire, when he left, did they have any chance to re-sign him, or do you think he wanted to get out of here?
Kadire wanted out. I talked to him in September of that year.
He was cooked here, wasn't he?
He was cooked. He was frustrated. He was tired of young Valencia and Delman Young acting like they'd already been established major leaguers. He was tired of trying to figure out what Mauer was going to do every day because it affected him somehow.
Was he tired that we all went to him because a lot of guys wouldn't talk, and he was the only one, he'd have to stand up?
That was the other thing too. No one else wanted to come out and be accountable, and he was no, he's still with Colorado. He was trying to get Morneau. He was trying to lobby the Rockies to sign Morneau. So stay tuned on that one. He's still out there.
It's Todd Helton.
So, but thanks, guys. We got to go. See you back here next week, everybody. Period.
That makes sense, I guess.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quart surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Bar Abilene at Lagoon and Fremont in uptown Minneapolis. And Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.